You're listening to Boggy Talk, Faith Conversations in the Mud, a resource of Church on Bayshore.
Well, hey, thanks for joining us today on Boggy Talk. We're back.
You're welcome.
You're so welcome.
Yes,
thank you. You're welcome.
No, all of our
the
faithful
above.
listeners.
Yes.
They've been waiting for the
Waiting.
next episode.
Yes.
It might be like, man, students were way better.
Yeah, they could.
Yeah.
They could.
They did do a great job,
did a
didn't
great
they?
job.
Yeah. And Jacob did a great job with them too. Yeah.
And then you guys had the interns last week too. So
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
funny. They did a great job too. I mean, the whole summer they did a great job, but they did a great job in the episode.
It's real positive. Yeah, it's like Justin goes around singing all the time. I believe the children are our future.
That's right.
They
Every
are.
day in the office.
That's right.
They are. But really, how refreshing it is. They've
Yeah.
updated things.
Yes,
for us.
it
So,
looks-
it looks so good in here.
getting better. Yeah.
I might just come work in here. It makes me feel very trendy.
True.
Yes.
Yeah. We have.
Justin and I kind of coordinated.
Yeah, that's right. We
You
got our
did.
blues
Good
on.
Job.
Yeah.
Good
Right.
job. Sitting a little bit closer today
Yeah.
because of new camera
And our new
angles,
cameras show all of how old we are.
but, yeah, I'm really worried about this actually. Whenever we see it again.
I have the most to worry about you guys.
Well, this month we're going to be talking about a new topic and basically working in a church staff. We've had a lot of staff changes, new people we're going to be introducing.
Yeah.
We talked about the interns last week. And so today's episode, we are talking about things I wish I knew in ministry.
Things you wish you knew?
Yeah,
that
that's
I
right.
wish I knew. No, really, I really wanted to hear. I didn't go to school to be in ministry, so there are things you didn't expect. But we want to hear from you guys today, and working for a church. So, why did we choose this topic, James? Why did you choose?
Oh, why'd we
this
choose
topic?
this topic?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I realized as we're talking through the interns, we're talking through new staff. I'm like, some people would probably like to hear just from us, about this, and the Boggy Talk host, So that's why I chose that, and I think people are interested in hearing, and I think it's helpful. And I haven't been to therapy in a while, so this is an opportunity.
This is a great opportunity.
This
Yes. And no one's on the other side. Like,
feel like
we
there-
can't see people on the other side making faces at what we
I feel
say.
like there are some pastors, by the way. I'm listening to their sermon. I'm like,
There's like
therapy.
there's
Is there
been
therapy
studies
sessions?
about
Yeah.
there's actually been like some studies done on that, like pastors who
Yeah.
like later came out that they were showing, and it's like if you go back and listen to that, it's like
Yeah.
it was there all along, just no one saw it.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe that for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
just to start off, first question: if you could go back and tell yourself one thing before your first ministry job, what would it be? You guys were what, like 12 when you started ministry? Okay.
No. Remember, I ran from the call
Yeah.
of my
That's right.
life, and you were pursuing something else too.
Yeah, absolutely. In college, yeah. So it was
Opera.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Medicine and opera,
all
right?
the
Were those your two?
listen. That I did. I
You
started
could
as a
be a great medical doctor. pastor.
like Patch Adams.
medical singing pastor.
Yeah. It was chemistry and all that. But anyway, that was my major. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, chemistry and all that.
That was my major.
Chemistry.
What would you tell young Justin?
I don't know. It's better than you think it's going to be, and it's harder than you think it's
Yeah.
going to be, and people are crazier than you think they're going to be.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I would say you're going to be okay.
Yeah, that's a
Like,
good word.
You're going to be okay. There's going to be some hard moments,
Yeah.
but all your fears are real,
Mm-hmm.
but your faith in God, that's real. That's more real.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I would say. Not
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That
Yeah.
trumps.
for sure.
Yeah,
good.
for sure. And you can go to a First Baptist church and it'll be okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Because
Yeah.
I don't know that I would have believed that at 20.
Listen,
Yeah.
no, I had resolved that I wouldn't, and here we are.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Me too. I think I said I will never.
I think I did too. I think, yeah, I think
you
those.
told me that when I asked you.
I think
actually.
you, yeah, I was like, I will never do that. And then as the
I think you told me
Lord,
that a month before you accepted the call.
I knew at that point the Lord I just didn't want to.
Yeah, never say
Um,
never, for sure. Well, the first thing.
Because I think you said something pretty similar too.
You kind of were like,
I am a lot more careful.
I'm supposed to take this job, and then you're like, nah, and then it's like we're still looking for somebody. We know you're out there somewhere.
I know.
And then,
And I was like,
yes.
I think this is for somebody else, but it just was still there. So
I'm so glad you both said yes to ministry.
That's
to
right.
This place.
That's right.
Yeah, I am
God's
too.
good. God's yes.
Absolutely. Well, one thing, not to start off on a negative note here, but,
But it is ministry.
But-
yeah, it is ministry.
What a great picture of ministry right there. Hey, I know you just like led a worship service, but here's 3 things I think need.
Yes.
All right,
Yeah.
that's-
So
maybe that's
often
foreshadow.
you're going to feel unappreciated. So a lot of things in ministry are unseen. You know, we see some of the things on a Sunday morning, but why does it feel that way?
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, it's interesting. A lead pastor, I think, is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like I get appreciated more than other people for things that maybe I do or do not actually have something to do with. But then there are a lot of things that are unseen. So it's like, it's very, I would say, for a lead pastor, and it's a little bit like that, you too, because you're on the platform. But like, it's almost like this harsh contrast of like, I really you should not appreciate me that much for X. And then other things, it's like, well, everybody else is taking credit for this thing I
Yeah.
did. So I would say it's kind of like extreme, But I would affirm that I think everybody in ministry is going to feel underappreciated for the amount they put in.
Right. I think it's encapsulated in the question that is often asked of people who work at a church, like, well, what do you do
Other than Sunday.
and they don't mean it. But they are like, they don't know. And that's,
I'm sorry that I ask you that every Monday.
what do you do? I mean, it's kind of the same. Like if somebody works at Eglin Air Force Base and I'm like, what do you do? Like, I'm not saying they don't work.
Right.
I'm just like, I don't understand. And so, but
Yeah.
I think because we were like, you have no idea, at least our flesh is like that.
Right.
And a lot of it is unseen. I saw a really funny reel the other day, and it was like a woman saying, she works in church communications, and she was like, I am convinced that no thing that gets announced in a church, in a service, hasn't gone through 6 months of planning, 3 suggested name changes, a passive-aggressive reply all, and
good.
which is true. It's
true,
like,
yeah.
and people don't know that, and that's okay. There's part of it they don't necessarily need to know,
Right,
and that's
yeah.
fine. But a lot of it is just behind the scenes logistics, like. And I think even the interns, as one of their responses in a question last week was, we just had no idea what all went in to things to make sure when we show up, things are just ready.
Right.
Because that's ultimately our staff. That's our goal. Like, we want our volunteers who are serving to show up and we're ready so they can do what they're called to do in serving. So.
Yeah. It's kind of like we talk about this a lot with the media ministry. You don't see all of the things that go right, or people don't appreciate it as much until a
something-
word's wrong on the slide, something's misspelled.
Right.
Which I have a funny story about that later. But those kind of things that it's like there's a lot of work, but
Right.
behind the scenes for sure. So how do you just like fight the bitterness of that? Making sure that you don't let I'm underappreciated or things like that over
Yeah,
cloud.
one, you have to take that to the Lord, because there
that's
is a level that truly only He sees. I mean, really, and that's not churchman. That's being a Christian. Like,
Right.
I remember Christy talking about that, like, and really God showing her that when she was staying at home with the kids. She's like, so much of my ministry is like, no one will ever know, but the Lord sees it all. And it's like, take that and apply it to any job. As a believer. And I think too, you just have to remember, like, the Lord sees it all. That's key ingredient number one. And then maturity.
Yeah,
like, as
right.
I think ministers either grow in bitterness or become less bitter, and it's really a choice of perspective. I mean, there's a lot of people our age and older who are bitter about ministry and the
You're right, I
sacrifices
know.
they've made.
Yep.
And I think if you were to like list out, there's plenty of things all of us could be bitter about. But we find God's goodness and sweetness, and it's Jesus meeting us in those moments. And you just have to choose to mature.
And I think as I'll find you, Lecrae, he says, I'm trying to be better instead of be bitter. Keep working on switching those letters. And like
That's
the point
good.
is, And I think that has stuck with me, and that okay, this can get better, right? There are things I can do to make it better, versus getting bitter
Yeah.
about it. And then part of that is like realizing some of this is beyond my control
Yeah.
as well. I think that I think it's helpful to be self-aware.
Yeah.
So like if you're motivated by numbers, if you're motivated by people pleasing, like to be aware where Satan's going to try and attack you.
Yeah.
Like the biggest issue for me is sometimes people spin a narrative about our church staff, me, whoever it may be, and I can't say the truth. I don't mean I am lying. I mean I cannot say, actually, this person did this, and this is who this person is, even
Yeah.
though I know it. And you really just have to trust the Lord.
Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
trust
That's
So
good.
that would be my biggest struggle, but I think there's other people who struggle with like being faithful and not seeing fruit in a season. You know,
Yeah.
and I think you just have to really be aware of that. Pastor Jacob did a great job with our staff this past week, just reminding us like the goal is for the master to find you faithful.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
that is the goal,
That's the goal.
and you can't.
I,
You
but
can't
with-
fix
it all.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah, that's good. So after, because I know we've all had one of those weeks where it's just like one thing after another. Boundaries, vacations, rest, any of those things help with that? Do you guys put those in place?
Faux show.
They do help with that. And I think I'll speak for myself, and I think probably for you too. Maybe it's just the stage of life you realize how much they help.
Yeah.
And you have to fight for it because it's hard because there's more and more demands. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just reality. That's not a statement of bitterness. That's just real. And you have to fight for that. You have to learn. You work hard, and then there is a point where you're like, I've done all I can do, and it'll either wait or it won't be done. And we communicate. Hey,
Right.
we were communicating. I didn't
Yeah.
finish this. Here's why. And we have to move forward. So yeah, you have to.
I think
have
you
to.
spoke to this kind of in one of your sermons during rest, and you were talking about some things that you had in
Right.
place just logistically. Could you remind us of those? I
Devote
think that's
daily.
great.
Devote daily. Withdraw weekly. Retreat quarterly. Escape annually. So
Yeah.
it is a big deal. In fact, and I would say our staff is usually pretty good about protecting each other in this. But this past summer we just had so much going on, and I was on a vacation. And I ended up working a ton on the vacation.
Yeah.
And I remember to you, I was like, "Don't do what I did."
I was like, I
'Cause I was like
can't.
so sad.
Yeah,
like,
it's
that I
just-
was
it's hard.
neglecting
Yeah.
my own rest, our children, the
Right.
way that I should. And so, but I would say that is not the norm for me.
It
I
is.
usually
Yeah.
am pretty good.
Yeah, and I think too, to that matter, like I think we have a pretty good culture of when someone's on vacation or out, like unless it's an emergency, we're not still expecting a response, And it was
Yeah.
the same way. Like I finally because of the transition, it was like there's things I have to get done now, and then I can truly turn it off for a
know.
few days. And
Yeah.
some of that is seasonal. That is,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that's the norm.
And we're not the only people with those kind of
Yeah,
jobs.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's true. So you guys probably have a lot more of this. People might think, with the whole, like, what do you do other than Sundays? Your jobs carry a lot of counseling with people, too. So not only are you just preparing for Sunday mornings and all of the different other aspects that you're leading over, but talk about that, some of the kind of weight with just carrying other people's burdens, knowing what's going on in your
Yeah.
congregation and how you handle that.
That's good. I
It gets
think
to be a lot, doesn't it?
it does get to be a lot for sure, because it's more of like you're so burdened, and you want to fix it, and you can't fix it, and so you carry that. I think it's Townsend in the book Boundaries. They talk about everyone has a load they have to carry, and everyone has burdens. And as the body, we can't carry each other's loads, but we can bear each other's burdens. Like everyone has responsibility for their lives, and so it's like having those like healthy, like emotional boundaries is important as a pastor.
Yeah.
Recognizing you can't fix it all, and then honestly, I usually, whenever I meet with someone and I don't know why they want to meet, like if they know I just need to talk about something, I usually start with saying, I just want you to know, like there's nothing you could say in the next however long we're meeting that's going to shock me or surprise me or make me judge you, because we've heard some crazy things. Not just in counseling, but also just been around some crazy people, right? And and I do think like God is merciful even just in our own relationships in life. Like those relationships are also preparing us for
Yeah.
life,
you have like
you know?
an attorney-client privilege
Yeah,
thing
and
where
and,
you're
and you
like,
don't
what?
talk about it. Like there's, we don't share those, and so I just because like it's, life is crazy.
Yeah.
And you know what? God's grace is, and that's what we want to communicate so much in those situations is God's grace is sufficient no matter what.
Yeah.
I think I'm laughing because it's like sometimes when people are like want to share something with me, and it's like what they're sharing with me, it's like they're like, this is going to be so shocking and so bad, and I almost want to be like, that's nothing, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not nothing
Yeah.
to them.
Yeah.
So, but I'm like, in a good way, like it is nothing. Like people have gone way deeper and have come back from that.
Yeah.
But I would say I think the hard thing for me, I have kids, and I think you guys all can identify with this. Is there are days that are heavy, and then you walk home, in your house.
That's a great
And
point.
so I there's some studies done on how much more difficult it actually is for guys to deploy now, because they do have such good communications with their family. So they're like in the midst of great conflict and war, and then they're talking at FaceTime in their family, and like code switching is hard. And I think for us, some days can be like that.
Yeah.
And it's really difficult, and it's sometimes like hard to not like to be present with your family because of that. And so that would be the hardest thing. As you mature, you get better at knowing your own boundaries. I do think one of the great values we have that often maybe our church takes for granted is that we have a executive staff, and so we have 2 other pastors who really are at that level where I can talk to them about anything, and them to me as well. And I do think there are a lot of pastors out there, as we talk about like vacations, as we talk about these things, they don't have that.
That's true.
It's just them, and their church doesn't necessarily give them that time or give them people to talk to.
Right.
And I think those guys don't make it as long.
Yeah,
So,
that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, kind of in that same vein, a lot like when you're working in a church and that's the church you go to, and these are your friends and these are your life group people, kind of all of your eggs are in one basket.
That
which
is
can
a
be
very real thing.
really scary sometimes too. And so who do you talk to? Like, who do pastors?
That's a great.
Do you have somebody you talk to outside, or like?
I did have a counselor. I will say I have people I can talk to get counsel internally and externally. One of the things I'm thinking about is like I need some bros. I need some friends. Like I used to be really good at that, and part of it is season of life. Kids.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have got to figure
You've
out
got
how to prioritize that.
high schooler down to baby.
Yeah,
it's hard.
It is hard. I have been, not intentionally, but I feel like I have been betrayed by people, who are like, we're just going to be your friend, and you can be a real guy with me, and the next thing you know, it's like, they're leaving the church,
because
or they're
someone else.
They shared something, that I trusted them.
Yeah.
So that is hard. What about for you? You're in ministry, and you're like a life group leader, and you're like, I'm real, but also I can't be real. I can't be like, my boss has really made me mad today.
Yeah, no. I mean, thankfully, I don't really have much to complain or really anything. I mean, in all honesty.
We all have something.
Yeah, no.
About, but.
I mean, I think probably with this job, for me, I've grown even closer to my husband in that part to be able to like share with things. Before we both worked, it was actually more difficult when we both worked in the same industry. Because he was kind of over that too. So some things I was like, I'm irritated at you and y'all's decisions with this. And so I was like, this isn't much better, because then there's
I could just see Chris's face.
I'm like, babe. I can see his eyes getting big and just go, well, it's just the way it is.
Yeah. So that's been helpful. And like I said, not just because, but he's great with like, well, have you thought about this or talked about this? And we're both like detached from the situation, in our own. And so,
for sure.
But I do have a friend that like doesn't. I mean, she's actually in ministry as well.
Yeah.
Doesn't live here. Doesn't know anybody. Well, she knows you guys, and very wise. And I've just found like certain things, like I can ask her opinion about things, and she's going to give me like a really clear,
direct and blunt.
But it's really not very often that I'm like, hey, crisis, because it's not really a crisis ever.
Yeah, I think there is a line where you're constantly in attention of like when you invest in relationships and you have friends, like you do always have the back of your mind, like they may, they might,
Right.
and that has happened, and I think like you can choose to stay reserved and not pursue those, or you can just say, you know what, it's worth the risk, and so that is a real thing. And ultimately, like if somebody was going into ministry, that's what I would tell them is like, you do have to be judicious about who is your closest inner circle, but at the same time, you do have to have that, and it's worth the risk.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It is worth the risk. That's a good word. I think the risk of not having that in ministry is greater than the risk of having that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a very good Chat GPT summary of that. Was a very concise statement. Good job.
you.
Good job, James GPT.
You're welcome, James.
James GPT.
That was a great summary.
Thanks, ma'am.
Well, because we work at a place with people, we know that
They're all perfect.
Not everybody's perfect. So a lot of times we can get criticism. And how do you differentiate between criticism that's like, this is going to be helpful feedback for us, or like, this is just hurtful? What's your rule in that?
Ooh. It's a learned skill, I think. One that's a thread of this is growing in your identity in Christ and recognizing it's so easy to find your identity. And this isn't ministry. This is it's so easy to find our identity in what we do.
Dentistry?
Our identity. I was trying.
That was your previous
industry.
career.
That's right. That was another option.
Well, when you're the valedictorian, you have a lot of
Stop.
options. Did you know that
No,
about
I did
stop.
not.
Justin
Okay,
Wyatt?
that
Yes.
makes sense.
All
Ann
right.
Wyatt is who made sure I knew
Oh,
that.
she and she's listening to Boggy Talk.
Good
Yes, she
job.
is.
Good job.
Yep.
She took credit for it, too.
She is. She's
She was a
smart.
principal. You know that, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
She just, changed the.
That's right.
No, I don't mean she. Such is great.
She
I
took
knew
my
she
straight.
meant.
She wasn't the
Well.
principal of my high school.
Oh, gosh.
But I think you have to, when your identity, you learn that your identity is not attached to what you do.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
know, it is a reflection of who you are. What you do is a
Yeah.
reflection of who you are, not the other way
Yeah.
around. So that's something we have to work on, no matter how old we are.
Right.
But the more that is settled in us, the more we can see through people's feedback. And I think most people, when they give feedback, it feels personal to us when our identity is entangled in what we're doing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
And that's easy because we're working hard, and you're not just doing it. You're pouring your heart into this, and so. But sometimes people are just mean because
Yeah.
they want their way,
Right.
And
Yeah.
but also that happens everywhere. People are mean everywhere,
Yeah,
even in the
you're
church.
right.
And I think sometimes in the church, I don't want to say they're more mean. I think they just feel like they can say it.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
kind of weird.
yeah,
It's kind of
But-
weird.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
weird
yeah,
thing,
yeah,
but
yeah.
but even at the same time, it's like you try to look through where is their heart, and I want to try to cut through what they're saying to get their heart, and here's what, and this happened recently with someone, and I said, so here's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing actually two different issues. One is you felt like you didn't know about this, and the other is you didn't like it. And so we can address that you didn't know about it. Now that you don't like it, let's talk about that. Those are two.
Right.
And
Yeah.
for all of us, that gets entangled. So we just have to listen and
Yeah.
be patient.
Yeah.
And
I
also,
No,
recognize
you're fine.
we need that same thing from other people because
Yeah.
we do the same thing.
Yeah, I feel like we could do a whole episode on church people can be mean.
Yeah.
I do think it's nuanced. I do think, a book that was helpful for me was Leadership as an Identity by Crawford Loretz.
That's a great book.
And it just helped me understand a part of how God's sanctifying me is through this role and the unique aspects of this role, just like other people, God's using their life
Yeah.
situations.
Yeah.
So
He loves us, so he does it.
Our identity is not in what we do, but a part of who he is shaping us to be has to do with this role. So that's been helpful, and there are bad criticisms that God is bringing my way to help me learn things. People are valuable, even if everything they say is not valuable.
Yeah.
Here's what I want them to walk away from. They matter.
Right.
Walk away with. Sorry, they matter. I think one thing that, and Pastor Justin has done a good job at this, because with the area of music, establishing preferences are valuable, but they don't drive us. And I think in church world that's got to be a part of your culture. I feel like more and more, this isn't pointing at anybody. That's some of our staff has to realize that, because we've grown, and now preferences aren't always happening over
Yeah.
the whole.
Exactly.
Me is not more important than we, and so I do. And even me, I have to sometimes be like, is this my preference because I'm the pastor, like if I lean into that, it'll feel heavy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like anyway,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was just thinking. I said this to you the other day about something, Kelly. And I was like, I mean, honestly, I don't agree with some of the decisions that I have to make because they're not what I want to do,
Right.
but they're what's right for the church or for this. And it's like, I don't want to make this decision, so I don't actually agree with the like personally.
Yeah,
like
me too.
Yeah.
But it's I mean, it's
Yeah.
and you
But
too.
you know
it's like
for a
and
whole, yeah.
no one has an opinion about communications, right?
Never. Yeah.
I was talking about the sound, just so you know,
Yeah.
and the lighting at our worship night the other night, and I'm like, what I'm saying literally is not my preference right now.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
this it should
Yeah.
be so loud.
That's what it is.
should be
Yeah.
loud.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a good point.
I'm like, but there's multi-generational,
Right.
and this room is different, for
Yeah.
people. So anyway,
I think
there's a lot
people
of that.
forget that, and we all do this.
Yeah.
You just, because we know our preferences in our lane, but we don't have 1,300 people,
Yeah.
opinions.
Yeah.
And you guys get that, more than anybody. Like this, I think you should do this. And usually the more outspoken people, I've found they are usually, it's not always positive,
Right.
like the more bold people it's going to
Yeah.
be. I have appreciated those people that are natural encouragers.
Yes.
And it can be the smallest little thing, but they will come
Yes.
and, just thank you
Yeah.
for something and encourage you. And
Absolutely.
you're just like, you don't know how impactful that is,
Right.
even,
Absolutely.
as silly as it can be. So that's
I
nice.
back to kind of our previous thing. Like, if you don't have a couple people who will tell you the truth and love you, you're going to be in trouble here, because you do sometimes need to go and say, like, if I preach something and somebody sends me a super long email, they didn't like how I said something, they didn't like what I said, blah blah blah. Did you think about this? Yeah, but blah blah blah. Anyway, sorry, reliving that. I really do need to, like, I'm either like, oh my gosh, I messed up, or I'm like. And it's really helpful to have some people who I'm like, hey, somebody brought this to me. You're one of the, like, what do you think, about this? And they'll be like, I mean, I
Yeah,
can
it's
see
like,
that. You can always
maybe,
work on
but-
that, but
Yeah.
nah,
Yeah, it's getting like
or
the-
they'll be like, oh yeah, So like, it is helpful to have that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So people can also ask really weird questions sometimes because they just think like, they can say whatever they want.
Yeah.
So can you guys share one of the weirdest questions you've ever been asked?
Do you want to feel my hernia?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
That's real.
That's real.
Okay.
Not at this church.
Okay.
But no.
Thank
and I
goodness.
had literally dude pulled up his shirt at the front of the worship center and then grabbed my hand and I against my will. And
Against
like,
my will.
I was like, what is happening right now? That's
Wow.
definitely the weirdest question.
Yeah. You want to top that?
Well, no. In my previous church, I was asked a couple times about girls were they single or not, like who were on the worship team and things like that.
Yes,
I'm
that's
like,
true. Now I have, yes.
One time it was Christy, my wife, and I'm like,
I
I'm like,
Actually-
what in
I
the
have had that.
world?
Like, hey, is that girl?
Wow.
Yes, like that girl. I don't see a wedding ring on her. Is she
yeah,
dating anyone?
People have
I-
like
they're
done it
trying
a
to
little bit
match
here,
me.
but I
no,
think
they're
it's kinda-
asking for themselves.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
oh.
I've had,
okay.
people are
It's-
like, I've seen this
that-
person.
I'm
Yeah.
like, it's just weird. You don't even know me, like, because it's visitors.
Yeah.
It's not like
Oh,
doubted people,
weird.
because they know,
Yeah.
right? Even here.
Like, she has a great voice. She must be great.
I know, right?
Yeah, I've been asked some weird theological things, and it's like, where did you even where on YouTube were you? Like
Yeah.
when you were watching that. So
I bet.
yeah, people give me backhanded compliments all the time. Somebody complimented me on my growing conciseness in my sermons a couple weeks ago, and they were like, because I would fall asleep. I'm
And you're like,
Oh, nice.
because you bored me, and I'm like, well, why did you come to this church for all this time?
right, right. You're like, thank you.
Because they weren't here
Maybe.
before I got here. So I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I've gotten that, which it made me laugh about my prayers. They're like, you are just straight to the point, and I'm like, thank
Well-
you. Yes, I am.
not spiritual at all, Kelly.
Right, yeah.
You just-
I know. It's great. I'm like, I know what you meant, but it just made me
Yeah.
laugh.
I do
but
when we're like running on time, and I'm like, "Who's doing the prayer, Kelly?" I'm like,
Yeah. we're good.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
There's some other staff members. I'm like, "Yeah, we better build in
You
some extra
never
time."
know.
There.
No, you know me. Stick to the script. So, funniest church misunderstanding.
Ooh. I got to think about that. I think of like in worship leading, there's those moments where like I've been in the moment and thought we were doing something and I would started the wrong song. I mean, but that's more. I'm trying to think of more like working in a church. Yeah, I'm gonna have to come back to that.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't.
I
No,
didn't
that's
think about
fine.
it.
I
Yeah.
had, which of mine are kind of both their most awkward ministry moments, and they were both on stage. It was great.
Here?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I
Oh,
started
can you share them?
talking. Yeah. I started talking, and there was another song. And
Oh,
so
yeah,
I had already
yeah.
sat everybody down,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
then
stand back
PT
up.
was like,
He was like,
"Actually,
you can
there's
see it on
another
PT's
song."
face, too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it was like there was no way to cover it. And then that happened again on Christmas Eve. I have a really hard time code switching from
Oh, yeah.
announcements to
Yeah.
singing. And all I heard was like, I was in the moment, it was a great song. And then it was silent. And then I just hear, I think it was you. And you're like, Kelly,
There's a song.
it's you.
Go.
I was like,
It's so
oh,
funny.
So
I try my
those are
best,
never
like,
fun.
not to make a facial expression when I know
Yeah.
you are messing up because I don't want y'all to be like,
Yeah. Oh gosh.
what's your...
Is he mad?
I
No,
know,
You're
I'm
not
like-
mad. You're like,
I'm just like, so you probably know because I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know if you can see me or not, but
This is what just came to mind was 2020, that October of Pastor Appreciation. Like we were up on the platform, and that week. This is funny, and it's fine like now, but at that time it was still like, what is COVID? We're social distancing.
Okay,
You got to
yeah.
be out of school, and we want. So Christy wasn't up there with me because one of the kids I think had tested positive that week, and we were like, what do we do? And the deacon doing Pastor Appreciation said to the whole church, like, and Christy's not here because she's at home with the COVID.
the COVID. I remember that.
And everyone like,
Oh, man,
now
I like
everyone's
looking
The
at Justin.
COVID.
everyone
The
is going to be
COVID.
like, stay away.
Yeah.
I was like, it's really like it's
Really?
okay, but anyway, it's just those
That's
things. You're
great.
just like, oh well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay,
I can't say all my awkward moments because people will be upset.
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, when we had a videographer jump up on stage in the middle of the service, that was
Yes.
one time I saw your face, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
we
no."
didn't know he was going to do that. Yes,
Yeah.
for the Beyond,
That was
Beyond These
great.
Walls, he's getting footage, and we didn't
Yes.
know that was
No.
going to happen, and he
Yeah.
did. So,
No, we did not.
oh well.
Well, we're gonna jump ahead a little bit in
Yeah.
this, but one other thing, you guys deal with this a lot: ministry interrupting your plans. So
Yeah.
you can't always make plans for crises and emergencies.
Right.
Is that just like when you walked into ministry, you're like, I know this is going to happen, sometimes I'm going to have to.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of know that, but you kind of forget that until it happens.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I remember in seminary them talking about. I mean, there's a lot of things you cover in seminary. There's a lot of things you don't. And I remember, like
Yeah.
in I remember professors saying that you just never know when you're gonna have to miss a vacation or change your plan for a vacation, or you're gonna have to be there at a certain time. And I would say our church is very gracious in those things, and people are like, so I understand you
Right,
can't be there.
right.
Like I would say there's not. I think we feel a lot of pressure because we want to. I don't,
Right.
and there's maybe some church members who
Yeah.
expect it, but I think by and large our church is really
Yeah.
great in this regard. You can't be there. I get it. You have a family. You have this. It's okay. But it's just true. Like you just, I remember one time, like you get a call at 2 a.m. and it's a guy like, hey, I have no idea what's going on with my wife right now, but she's acting manic. Like, can you come over? And you're like, yeah,
Am I qualified?
I
for
don't
this?
know what I'm about to walk into.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. Also, that wasn't here too, just so I'm not sharing anybody's personal story. But I don't know the situation, so I'm like, I called another friend. I was like, "Can you come with me?"
Yeah.
And so you never know. You never know.
Just for clarity, once you leave a church, statute of limitations.
I would never say names.
stories.
No, I guarantee you, no one
Knows
knows who that
anything.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't tell
Yeah.
this. Hey, this what happened last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think this is a great church. I think it's a tension you run with. I think, I think like, I was thinking of something made me think about this the other day. It was like you kind of give up a little bit of your life like that in certain careers. I was thinking about a doctor friend. I'm like,
Yeah.
even doctors, like a little bit, like they kind of recognize,
Yeah.
hey,
This is life.
yeah. I think my biggest challenge is with the church size and things I'm involved in, my schedule gets very full and it's very difficult for me because typically if I'm like if ministry is interrupting my plans, it's my plans with someone else.
Yeah.
And those are plans with someone else who've probably been scheduled a few weeks ahead of time. And so I just feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
to do. I'm probably
Yeah.
6 months into somebody else doing my calendar. And I should have done that a long time ago, but it was like pride. I
Yeah.
didn't
I
wanna
can
give
manage
that
it.
up.
Yeah, it's hard.
I didn't want to feel like that guy who you have to reach out to someone else to
Yeah.
get on
Yeah.
my calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like being accessible.
Yeah,
We like
I
being
mean, and we are.
accessible.
I mean, part of it's like we love people, and we're, you know, there's the core of like we're still kind of people pleasers, even though like God
Yeah.
sanctified that. We
Yeah.
we don't want to let people down and hate feeling that. Even though when people are like, it's okay, I'm like, no, but
Yeah.
I feel terrible. It's like, well,
You would have to ask our kids and our wives
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
they feel we do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
That would be.
That'd be
they
interesting.
would
Well,
say
you're
it
not allowed
depends.
to.
They would say
You're not allowed
it
to.
depends. They would say it depends.
It depends.
Remember the beach? They'll bring up the beach this past time. My
Yeah.
kids, would.
So what's been in ministry for you? We'll close on this question.
Okay.
Your most rewarding moment. That's kind of probably difficult to.
Ooh.
The most. Okay, top 5. maybe.
Okay. Yeah, that's hard. I mean, when you see someone come to faith, I mean, there's people that I just think I never thought that would happen, and they believe. You
Yeah.
know, like wow. I was actually thinking about that this morning, looking back at to say something really positive about a previous church. Like, there's so many.
Good, because you've been dogging
No,
me.
I know this is a great church.
I'm just kidding.
But no, but there's so many people who are now in their 20s and 30s that we got to be with or had in our home who are just doing really great things for the kingdom. And when you some in ministry and some in their job, you know, what not vocational ministry, but all in Christian service to the Lord, you know. And I'm like, God, yeah, that's so rewarding when you see that. Yeah, I would say those are the two biggest things. And then just when you just see people whose life circumstances or whatever, and you see them trust in the Lord, and you've had a glimpse into that or been a part of it, and you just see God's doing a great work. Like, that's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you finish. I'll go one more. Yeah, I would basically the same thing. Obviously, people coming to know Jesus, and like God did not need me or need Bayshore, but that He used me
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that someone go to heaven. And we just recently, the Martins baptized Emily.
Yeah.
And like I was a part of their
That was
baptism day, and
what a
then
great
Emily's, and
great
so
story.
like, yeah, just that God would use me, that people would be like, yeah, I understood the gospel, I understood the word, that understood how to be a husband because of me. Like,
Yeah, what?
who am I? And then number 2, like, because of me, you know, again, God didn't need to use me, but there are pastors who are pastoring,
Yeah.
and there are churches that have started and churches that have gotten new life, and I'm like, again, it's really cool, like, to see Bayshore's
Yeah.
role in the kingdom, and even, I mean, previous church, like a lot of those guys are
Yeah.
in ministry. And then number 3 truly is, and they're not all like super passionate about Jesus necessarily yet, but I feel like all my kids like the church.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's
and I am like grateful,
Yeah.
like because my wife and I both do a lot of things wrong.
Yeah.
But I feel like Bayshore has helped our children
Yeah.
to love the church as opposed to be resentful. And
Right.
so those
that is
3
a
things.
huge gift, I would say, here for our kids. It's like our kids have shared at times, like, oh, I feel like there's pressure being a pastor.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, let's talk about
Right.
that. And when you boil it down to it, it's kind of like a self-imposed
Right.
pressure. And I was like, oh, well, how do you? And they're like, actually,
Ezra?
people.
Ezra's the one
That's
who
right.
said
He's like, what? Your pastor? Ezra be like, what?
That's great.
But like, you know, they I think have had freedom here to be
Yeah.
who they are.
Yeah.
And people have poured into them and yeah, all of them. I'm so grateful for that. I would say that is probably one of the hugest gifts Bayshore's been to our family is just the number of people who have invested in our kids. And I think in all the kids there, I mean, in all the ministries, not just our kids, but yeah.
Yeah. I think, and Jacob kind of spoke to this at our last staff chapel, but just like I'm a planner, and so you think like, well, I've got to do all these things, you know, to make this happen. And like, we don't have to do that. Like, God just really does ask us to be faithful in the next step. And so I think it's encouraging whenever you do just that, you know, and you're just faithful in the little things, and then you get to see the fruit of that in other people's lives. It's very rewarding, and you're just like, okay, Lord, I'm not going to worry so much, the microscope things, but just like big picture, like, what are you asking me to do? I'm just going to be faithful in that next thing, and then let him work. And it's, like you said, it's really cool to be a part of that. So, and I think, we all know ministry is demanding, but the gift of watching God work in people's life definitely outweighs that. So,
For sure.
Well, we will be continuing the rest of the series with more staff updates, get to meet new people that are coming on staff. So you guys definitely stay tuned, and thanks for joining in. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for listening to Boggy Talk. We are so glad you joined in the conversation. Go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss a beat.